Hi, welcome. I'm Allison Graham, and this is a clip of me speaking in July 2015. By this point, we've moved away from the big screen and brought out the flip charts to draw out what it takes to build profitable relationships. If you like what you see, please consider hiring me to speak at your next conference. Just click the link below to arrange a call. Enjoy.
What determines if we actually create a loyal referral or a client source from somebody who once was unknown and now is known in a positive light, and we've created a mini bond and now we have our aligned interest? It comes down to the experiences that we have with people. Now, experiences, we also know, can either be positive, they can be negative, or they can be neutral. And when we have consistently positive experiences with people, this is the outcome we can create. So a follow-up is what connects every one of these steps. So the whole focus in having the event, because the event is just about the showing up, is about figuring out why are we connected enough that we're going to follow up so that we can create better experiences with people and have more positive interactions with them so that they're going to remember who we are, develop trust over time, and ultimately become a loyal client source. Now what happens is we get really busy. And those of you who are busy, you know that we can drop the ball both on the follow-up or get really lazy with the type of experiences that we have with people who we interact with. Because that's where the money is. So here we are. We've got to show up. We've got to speak up. We've got to follow up. We're all on page that this is important. Here's the problem. If you show up, if you speak up and you follow up, it still is not enough. Because I did this. I did this 241 times in 1 year. I showed up, I spoke up. You know what? I was doing 16 hours a day and I thought life was fantastic. And then something happened in my life. Changed. 3 hours significantly influenced my life, and I was no longer physically capable of anything more than 2 hours of functionality in a day. Where does show up, speak up, follow up happen when all of a sudden you are incapacitated and no longer in a functionality to continue at that pace? Now for you, I hope there's never anything very dramatic in your life that says, I can no longer go to 241 events. I'm calling it quits this year. Here's where the profit is. The profit is in the prep. So not only do we need to show up, not only do we need to speak up and follow up, but we, in fact, need to gear up. Because before any of this happens, if you are not in the right rooms, interacting with the right people, and have not done your advanced homework, there is no way to actually walk into a room that has 1,000 people in it or 100 people in it and know that when you walk out of there, I am going to have some value. If you skip the gear up step and focus only on the exhibit, only on what the experience is going to be for people and not on the human interaction and the connections and the prime prospects, you may as well give up. Because I don't know about you, but if I'm going to take time away from my family and my friends and my little dog who, when I start packing, jumps in the suitcase. Does anybody else have a pet that jumps in the suitcase to say, please don't go again? If I'm going to live with that guilt, it better be worth it. And I don't mean that in a callous way. I don't mean that in an inauthentic way, because I will go to places that will be of value. And just like you want to go places with an intent in mind. I have what I call a sweet spot of profitable activity. We can go out and find new clients, brand new clients, people who we have no idea who they are yet, but we're going to take them through the entire process and go from unknown to known, mini bond, aligned interest, experiences, and then they're going to become a new client. Or if we want to increase our referrals, that's the third way to do it. Referrals or expand share of wallet with your current clients and upsell them. So if our goal is to get more referrals and more contacts, then what the activities that you need to be doing when you're not at an event needs to be focused around how do you connect with your current clients and give them better experiences so that you're getting more value from them and they're giving you referrals and we're training them to have referrals. Problem is people want to have more referrals and they spend all their time trying to attract and engage brand new prospects. Well, then it's not going to achieve our goal. So setting that time in your mind now, when am I going to do that? Because here's the thing, who's collected business cards while they've been here? Excellent, wonderful little pieces of paper. In North America, I think they become a bit of an afterthought. A business card is not about the piece of paper. It's about the person who is represented by the information on the piece of paper. And so when we think about those business cards, and you've all got them, and maybe this is just me, but you get them back, right, and you put them in your purse or in your pocket, and you get home and you take them out of the suitcase, and there they are, and then they go on your desk. And you may have noticed that business cards actually have a tipping point. You can stack them just so high before they fall over. And once in a stack of business cards that has been stacked so high that they actually fall over, that you need to get an elastic. And once the stack of business cards piles so high, falls over, you grab an elastic and wrap them up, what happens? They go in the desk drawer. And as soon as a stack of business cards has an elastic around it and ends up in the desk drawer, what happens with the people who are represented by the information on those pieces of paper? Nothing. We're never going back. So instead, when you leave, take all of those, and I would encourage you to categorize the contacts. Say somebody who I really connected with and I made a promise to that I need to send something. And those are our priorities. Then there are the other nice to haves, the people who we want to know, and put those at the second priority. And then the third ones, sometimes there are just going to be people who you don't need to follow up with. I think one of the reasons our follow-up is so low is because people aren't having meaningful enough connections that we find enough of the aligned interests so that we actually see the reason to follow up. If we have better conversations and better interactions and represent our brands better, and then we've created a scenario where we've planted the seed for the follow-up, then we're going to get back in touch with that person, then that's where the money is. They are spending millions of dollars sponsoring events, going to trade shows and exhibits, and local charity galas. Millions of dollars. And the leadership said to them, you're either going to stop spending the money or you need to show me how to make it better. You need to show me some value out of that because we cannot keep spending the money. And so they came to me, and I'd been sort of talking with them and doing local events and things for quite some time. And the reality was that there was no structure or expectation for the people, the 10 people who they were sending to the event for 3 days. They had no structure around it. There was nothing that said, this is what you're going to do to gear up. This is your prep work. This is the 15, 30 minutes that I need you to spend before you walk in that room. These are the roles. These are the assignment. This is our objective. This is our messaging. They didn't have that. And then there was no training and expectation around what are you going to do when you're there? Because going and sitting and talking with other people who you work with, not a good use of our millions of dollars of investment. And even at this conference, I have seen in our dinners and things, last night was supposed to be dinner with strangers. The vast majority of people put down their name with people who were not strangers. So if you're here with 2 or 3 people, you probably went with them to the event last night, when in actual fact, think about the exponential power of splitting up and all of you going to a different dinner. So much more value. But we have to set this expectation for people when they go to an event. And then the most important, so what are you going to do before? What are you going to do during? What are you going to do after? I gave them 8 questions to ask. And the final question is, what value would you as an individual place on this event? Yes, we can have all the data analytics, and I think that's all great and absolutely required when you're a big company and you're investing a ton of money. But at the end of the day, what is the one person who sat in the booth? God, please don't sit in a booth. What is the one person who sat on the outside of the booth talking with people? What do they see as the value? You know, that's where I think the money is. The money is in the prep and having the expectations when we go into an event. Because an event is only a moment in time. It does not a relationship create.